Cheers.
Shava. This episode of the Schlabcast brought to you by Monster Energy, specifically White Monster, zero sugar. It's good for you. It's good for us. Monster Energy.
That was perfect.
Anytime, man. This next one is brought to you by Capri Sun,
Oh,
100% juice.
oh, nice. Throwing it back with the Capri Sun.
I saw a pack at Costco, and there was just something about it that I couldn't resist. I just had to have it. One of those things you just have to have. Let's get right into it. Let's dive right in.
Yeah, welcome to the
Want-
Schlabcast. Week 8 review, Week 9 preview. Recording this on November 1st,
Nice.
Wednesday. Do we just want to touch on some of this breaking news that just
Yeah,
happened
definitely. I just
last
pulled up the
night,
doc.
yesterday, Tuesday, just after the trade deadline? We had some crazy news. So the Las Vegas Raiders, they fired head coach Josh McDaniels and their GM, Dave Ziegler. And they also relieved their offensive coordinator, Mick Lombardi, as well. First head coach down. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
I don't think we're that surprised in someone that's deserving of being fired here with McDaniels. I texted Wade to get a quick reaction from the biggest Raider fan that I know, and he said it was the biggest sigh of relief he's seen in a while. So he was happy about it. Clearly, Raider fans seem to be happy about it. McDaniels just wasn't cutting it. They name Antonio Pierce their interim head coach. I think this is like they've had the most coaches and interim head coaches in the last 20 years, like ever since Mark Davis took over the team.
They still owe John Gruden. They're still going to be paying John Gruden and Josh McDaniels. So it just goes to show you like how toxic it became that they just needed to get him out of the building. My dad, also a huge Raiders fan, very happy, very excited. It's just refreshing. And just looking back at it now, it does feel like a lot of like Chip Kelly vibes in the sense that all the players not happy, trying to get rid of like
Yeah.
leading with Devontae Adams in that Monday night game.
Yeah.
So probably like the cherry on top, but Renfro, dating back to even Derek Carr, issues with Waller,
All
even
those people are gone now,
even Chandler
too.
Jones. I blame part of that to
Yeah.
him too.
It's an unfortunate situation to a pretty talented team, somewhat, I'd say. We definitely know that they have some big names on there and have some good guys, but I don't think we're surprised here. I think Ron Rivera is definitely next on the hot seat, along with still Brandon Staley has done nothing to show that he can win. Whoop-de-doo, you beat the Bears. Cool. Win a real game, and then we'll talk. Not have some sort of terrible play in the fourth quarter. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's a little surprising they get rid of the GM too, but didn't they just fire Mayock like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I can see is that the GM also came from the Patriots and he was kind of linked with McDaniels. So that makes sense that they go out together, start
Yeah.
fresh.
But I did see today that O'Connell was named the starter moving forward. Just what a wild time. What a wild time. And you're like, your franchise is under the biggest microscope now because you have people coming out from all over. You want to put a good product on the field on this global scale that you've built, in that stadium and in Las Vegas. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We
Yeah.
have some other Commanders news.
Yeah, speaking of the coaching news, I don't know if you saw, it was first reported by Pro Football Talks. Mike Florio said that he's hearing whispers that the Commanders are trying to trade for Bill Belichick. It only makes sense to me in the sense that it's new ownership. So I believe his name is Josh Harris. He's trying to make a big swing. So I can see it in that sense, but it'll be interesting to see if like the Patriots are willing to do that and what the compensation would be for
Yeah,
something
what
like
would
that.
that even look
Yeah.
like? Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Talk about that as more develops on that story.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, regardless of the Patriots' record this year, I would rather not have Belichick in the NFC East.
No, no.
Any other things we want to touch on? There was a
Chase
trade.
Young to the 49ers, maybe. Commanders kind of cleared out their their bigger players. Sweat to the Bears.
So
Oh, Dobbs to Minnesota to fill in for Cousins. We think Kyler's close to coming back. And some
yeah,
interesting moves. I give a golf clap to Minnesota for saying they're not giving up on the season, despite how they started. They still won't win in the playoffs, I guarantee you that. But I give them a A-OK.
yeah.
Way to not give up, you know?
Quarterbacks, though, just your thoughts. Been a lot of quarterbacks getting hurt recently. And
Definitely.
maybe it could just be me looking at my fantasy team, but at one point, like my receivers, they're being thrown balls by Tyler Bagent and
Yeah.
PJ Walker,
Deshaun injury is very interesting.
possibly John Wolford,
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky for the Steelers. We
Brian
just
Hoyer, Aiden
Brian Hunt.
O'Connell.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
said Kirk Cousins is out, so Dobbs is now leaving. So now Clayton Tune is going to
Yeah.
be. Matt Barkley just got signed to the Giants practice squad. It's crazy times
Yikes.
right now.
Big
Also,
time yikes.
also Falcons. They benched Desmond Ritter, so Taylor Heineke. So we'll
Yeah.
see if that changes their
Did that happen like
Falcons.
mid-game this past week,
I
I
think
think?
so.
Yeah.
Will Levis
Interesting.
getting his first start because Tannehill's hurt. So yeah,
We want to talk about any of these week 8 games? Interesting results. There was that insane Broncos Chiefs game where the Chiefs are held to not scoring a touchdown for the first time in like 3 seasons.
that was honestly nuts. I actually didn't watch any of that game though.
I
Um,
watched a little bit. They said Mahomes was sick and dealing with a
so
cold throughout the whole week that had run through the family. So he didn't really look like himself, but people were it was kind of like that first game of the season. People were catching wide or dropping wide open passes, and the Broncos were just creating turnovers. All of a sudden, they just like had that dog in them that day and showed up, and Wilson was playing hard.
and Taylor
Yeah,
Swift wasn't there.
no, so
It all
big
adds up.
time yikes. Big time yikes on that one. A couple other surprises. I didn't think the Texans were going to lose to the Panthers. Bryce Young toughed it out in what was a really hard field goal matchup of 15-13. Tough to see them struggling to put up points. Dolphins took care of the Patriots. Will Levis, let's talk about that game. Will Levis makes his rookie debut, ends up pulling out a win 28-23 on the Falcons, who bench Ritter midway through the game. I had the Falcons picked. Who did you have? The Falcons, Andy?
I had the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was specifically for that reason. Yeah, Will
Yeah.
Levis, rookie quarterback, his first start, even if it's at home. But it's the Falcons. And I had texted later on to you guys that day that I am no longer going to pick the Falcons the rest of the season, regardless of who they play. Yeah.
They keep winning at the end, so I'm shocked that they couldn't pull us out. But Levis looked good. He threw the deep ball. D-Hop had like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he looked like,
He looked
uh,
old D-Hop.
yeah.
They were wearing those Oilers uniforms. Maybe he had that old Houston dog in him, feeling good. Which I don't understand how they're allowed to wear those uniforms, but that's beside the point. That was a pretty crazy game. There
You,
was another game that I watched that was pretty wild. Oh,
um,
the Jets Giants game.
also a game I didn't watch.
Dude,
That's the one that
okay.
went into overtime,
It
right?
went into overtime. The Giants were up like 10-3, or I want to say, on the Jets. Let me pull this up actually.
That's like with DeVito, right?
Yeah. And DeVito had so it was 7-3 Jets after Brees Hall had a 50-yard screen pass. And then the Jets score a DeVito touchdown midway through the third, go up 10-7. It's 10-7 the whole time. A minute left to play. The Giants have like a 40-yarder to kick to go up 13-7, right? He misses, complete shank.
Short
Jets get
field.
the ball back, decently short field, 2 big plays. They line up. Greg Zerlin kicks a field goal to send it to OT with 0 time left. And then the Giants get the ball first in overtime. Terrible 3 and out, like 3 awful plays. And then the Jets get the ball back and just march down the field and kick a field goal to win. It was insane. It was a crazy game. There's no way that I saw Jets fans leaving the stands on TV with like a minute left. And then all of a sudden it's overtime. And those people are probably at their car like, what the hell is going on? Like, how did it go to overtime?
Yeah.
Didn't he kick that field goal?
It
Nope.
wasn't even like it was that far away to just leave like that too, if you really are a fan.
Right? Of either team. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
only
but
happens every 4 years that these two teams like play each other.
yeah.
So that was a wild game. There wasn't a lot of other noteworthy ones. Oh, the Browns Seahawks game. Browns should have won that game for sure, and they blew it at the end. And Seattle took care of business. Seattle scored early and fast, and then they just kind of died out.
I have that much faith in PJ Walker.
No, Cleveland
Defense,
was up 20-17 with not that much time left, and they had a turnover or something, and Seattle came back down and scored with like pretty much no time left, like 30 seconds left. Browns
yes.
choked for sure. Gino has definitely been the strongest player out of those three people to get those contracts early on. Those like 30 mil a year ones with him, Daniel Jones, and
Carr.
who was the other guy? Carr got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gino's been the one he's had a couple questionable things, but he made some good plays in that game I was watching. It's
Yeah.
weird. He's still not that great, but I think he's very serviceable and he knows what he can do now. And people have like done a good job of scheming or like for him specifically. And he's got great weapons there. So
He's done a good job like turning his career around ever since he's gotten to Seattle.
totally. He won comeback player of the year last year, I think. So yeah, that was another game that was crazy.
Which
Not a lot
which
of other ones.
which I just want to comment though, I totally think he's deserving, like he played really well, but as one Redditor said, what was he coming back from?
Exactly. Right. That's that award is kind of BS. I remember Rivers won that one year. Like he had like a 15 pick year or something like that, like a down year. And then the next year he like played really good, like back to his normal self. I'm like, really? Comeback player of the year? Really? Any other games you wanted to mention?
No, I'm just looking over them once more. Just
Cowboys won easy over the Rams.
blowout, yeah.
Jags took care of the Steelers. Jags looking good. Bills took care of the Bucks. Eagles in a shootout took care of the Commanders. You want to talk about that game at all?
Yeah, I don't know why we I didn't mention that one before. Again, like the Commanders, like as bad as they are, those games are always going to be close. I just know as an Eagles fan, those NFC East games. So I didn't expect it to be that high scoring necessarily, especially from them to put up 30. But
Yeah,
was not surprised that it was like one of those gritty back and forth games. Sam Howell though definitely did impress. Yeah, he looks pretty good. He looks like he actually could be the future in Washington.
he looks like
Um,
he cares and is giving it his all. You know,
it was actually Jalen Hurts, one of his better games in my opinion.
he did play really well, especially in the second half. It's just one of those same kind of Eagles wins that we've seen all year. I feel like they've been in close games with a lot of teams, but a lot of like almost every time, except for that Jets game, they figured out a way to put up more points in the second half and be the better team. It
I
was really only that one Jets game where they kind of doubled down on their mistakes and couldn't close it out.
Yeah, and then I have to mention shout out to AJ Brown looking like really good this year.
That dog in him, man.
Yeah,
Jeez Louise.
arguably top receiver with Tyreek, I'd say right now.
Definitely in the conversation. Probably the strongest. He's like fast, but he reminds me of how Calvin Johnson can just always could come down with the ball.
And he broke the record for 6 games, 125 yards or more in a row. It was 5. He's now have 6 games, and now we're hopefully going to make it 7 against the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
that's gonna be tough
I
talk.
don't,
You
I don't
want
know what.
a little preview about that? You and Caleb gonna do a preview?
Yeah, we'll have our own separate preview. If anyone is wondering why, no, Caleb is not just
He's
first.
boycotting.
He's afraid of the game. That's why he's not here. He just it's Eagles Dallas week, so he's afraid it's going to
Sounds
go
about
down.
right.
I think it's going to be a good game.
It
Cowboys are
should be a great game.
they're trending up right now, so I think it's going to be between two of the top NFC teams right now. I'd say the Cowboys and then obviously the Lions and the Seahawks we mentioned. Obviously 49ers in the discussion too, but they have lost 3 games now. So
Yeah, and some
interesting.
not so great losses.
Hmm.
haven't been at the absolute last minute. They haven't looked great for portions.
But they did
Cincinnati, I think, finally is starting to find their stride as well
that
on
too.
the AFC side. Dolphins looked totally good again. There's some really like top 8 teams that are very clear on each side. I think we've all mentioned quite a bit.
Ravens looking good too. Kind of like a
Yeah,
dark horse. I feel like they're not
absolutely. I
really
think people
being.
keep counting them out. I think that pretty much covers them. Chargers got an easy win against the Bears. I think that wasn't too
Yeah, it wasn't
tough.
too
Lions
surprising.
took care of business against the Raiders. So none of those games were ever that close that often, except for
We
those ones that we mentioned.
Oh yeah, I think something stands out right away. Week 9, we have our game in Germany.
Yeah, forgot.
That'll be interesting. Dolphins and Chiefs in a
Dolphins Chiefs.
neutral field.
I think the Dolphins have a legit shot to win. I think the Chiefs are definitely looking for a bounce back, but it might not be the bounce back that they want. But you think Taylor Swift travels out to Germany for that one?
I think I think it'd be kind of crazy, and then it might be unrealistic given her. They said she's going back on tour or whatever. But
Yeah,
just given how crazy that game is, I would put it at like I don't know, 10%
50-50
chance. Or
shot.
yeah, 50.
I think
Yeah,
so. Yeah.
25%.
If she's got her
Um,
own jet, she can go anywhere, I guess.
I think
She's got nothing going on a Sunday.
I kind of feel like the Dolphins can pull this one out. I think Tyreek Hill wants to have a big game again against his former team.
Yeah.
I'm playing against Tyreek in fantasy, so hopefully he doesn't. But
I think that's going to
uh,
be a really tough game to pick. I'm going to struggle with that tomorrow, choosing
yeah,
who I want, and I'm going to go back and forth in that. The neutral ground really, like if it was at the Chiefs, I would say like totally they're going to win. They need a bounce back win at home. It's hard to play there, no matter how good the Dolphins are. But you put that in Germany, and after so game last week, it's way more interesting. So it came at a good time.
just like one or two more games I just wanted to mention. Obviously, we already touched on the Eagles Cowboys, so that's going to be a really good game. And then another good AFC game because we already had Dolphins Chiefs. What about Bills Bengals?
Yeah, has the potential to be a shootout Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Should be good.
And then of course we have to touch on the most important game though of week 9. Minnesota Vikings visiting the Atlanta
Versus the
Falcons.
Atlanta Falcons. We will see who will start at quarterback for either team. We don't know.
That's got to be Dobbs versus Heineke.
Wow, what a place time we're living in right now. You know,
Give me Dobbs on like 3 days notice.
yeah. Learn the playbook.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Should be some good games. Pick'em video will be coming out soon. Be fun. These are going to be some tough picks this week.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks everybody who's been watching and following. Make sure you guys continue to like, subscribe, share. Caleb and
Schlob,
Caleb and I will have our own little Cowboys Eagles week 9 preview.
love it.
Yeah,
Stoked.
should be a good time.
I'll
Yeah,
be
looking
tuning
forward
into
to it.
that. Losers got to do something at the wedding. We'll see what it is.
I already called it. Yeah, yeah. I'm just imagining Caleb and that Kelly Green.
Oh, it'd be so amazing. Just
Yeah,
busting it out.
yeah. He is
We'll
a Jalen
see.
Hurts fan. He put a bet
Yeah.
down for MVP, so he
Yeah.
doesn't hate him that much.
Nope.
Hey,
We will see.
yeah.
We will see for sure. Should be a fun time. Should be a really fun time. Where are you going to watch that Eagles game?
Good question.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try to get together. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see.
See if you and Caleb can
Oh yeah, that actually.
be in the same room together.
Yeah.
Back in college, just a little for our fans here. Back in college, Andy would have the Eagles game on upstairs, and Caleb would have the Cowboys game on downstairs, and I would just kind of bounce back and forth, whatever was going on. And I gotta say, most of the time I ended up in Andy's room because it always ended up getting pretty heated downstairs.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It was a fun time in our lives for sure.
Thankfully, I can say I chilled out now.
I'm not sure Caleb has, but we'll see. Once
Yeah.
again, this episode has been brought to you by Capri Sun 100% juice. Thank you so much. And for our older fans, we have White Monster, zero sugar.
There you go.
Just do it. Nike.